ready?
Well, you want me to say? Huh?
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay. Where were you born?
Donaldsonville, Louisiana.
Tell me more about it. Where at? What did it look like?
What it looked like? Had about 40 acres of land and lived by big fairgrounds. I used to crawl underneath the fence every year. Had a hole dug into the fence. I'd go in there free. Wouldn't have to pay a nickel.
The fair?
At the fairgrounds, yeah. Every year, December the 7th, the fair would start. And then during the fair, I'd work at various places in the fairground, setting up bottles,
In the games?
Yeah. And,
Did you go
I picked up tickets to go see tent shows.
Did you ever go to that school that was right behind Mama's house? Did you go to school there?
I went to Donaldsonville High School.
When you was a kid, though, was that the school you went to, Donaldsonville?
Yeah.
There was only one school?
We got grammar school and we got high school.
Was that far from the house? You had to walk or what?
I used to put on my roller skates and skate in the middle of the highway to go home and eat dinner, about 10, 12 blocks, and skate back. We only had an hour for dinner. I get back about, on Friday, every Friday we'd have crab, I'd be, from having to eat crab, be late for school at dinner time.
Did your mama cook crab?
Yeah, every Friday there was crab, fish. We were Catholics. So when we was kids, we couldn't eat no meat. My daddy was the only one who could eat meat on Friday.
They were strict about that?
Yeah, they were strict about that.
Your mama was, not your daddy? How come your daddy could eat?
Well, he worked, you see. Only working people could eat meat on Friday.
Wow.
Kids, well, if you was under 7 years old, you could eat meat. But after you was over 7, you had to eat fish on Friday. That was a fast day.
So when you come home from school?
When I come home from school, in the evening, I had to hurry up, change clothes, feed the cows, go work in the garden. We had a big cornfield. Used to have to go out there with my mama and hoe the corn, and well, we'd plant all kinds of vegetables, watermelons, cucumbers, cantaloupes, tomatoes, beans. It's all kinds of food. Potatoes. In the evening, I had to go in the fairgrounds. They had clover about 2 foot high, and I had to cut 3 or 4 sacks of clover and throw it over the fence for the cows and our horses. And then I'd have to go to the haystack at Pettervamp, at a big haystack at Pettervamp, where they'd thrash the rice and they'd pump all the rice on the rice straw on the big stack. I'd go there with 3 or 4 sacks, fill up them sacks with hay, and then cross 2 fences, and a big bull in the fence. I had to watch whatever end he was on there, so you get across and run like hell. You had to go on the other side. And we used to play on the haystack, get up on top and jump down. Well, there was a big sugar mill at one time, and it burnt down. And they had the big smokestack. And I used to climb up in there and get the sparrow egg out there. If a brick would have fallen on one of our heads, would have killed us. About 50 foot high, that stack was.
Who, you and your friends?
Yeah, friends. And we'd go in there, and our girlfriend would come in there, and we'd have a good time under the hay. Big tunnels in the hay. Catch rats and mice with our hands. And there are two ponds, one on each side of the hay, where the haystack. And I used to spend a lot of time over there fishing in the pond. And my mom would holler, "Ow!" You'd have to holler about a dozen times. I'd make like I wouldn't hear. I'd just catch a fish.
Tell me about your mom and dad. What was your mother's name? Her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Gelfie. They call her May.
And what do you remember about it? Tell me some of the things that's most in your mind.
Oh, she'd bust the shit out of it. It was bad.
You remember that more than anything?
Yeah.
And you remember anything about her side of the family? What was your grandmother like?
My grandmother died when I was 5. She had 6 boys and 4 girls. And my mama was the second the youngest out of the 10. But there's only 2 aunts that I knew real well. And the other ones lived in New Orleans and along the Mississippi River around St. James. That's where they buried at, in St. James, Louisiana. That's in between Donaldsonville and New Orleans.
They come over and visit a lot or anything?
Oh, we always have. Every Sunday we had a yard full of chickens, about 400 or 500 chickens, and all the kinfolk, they come from St. James and Plaquemine, and they come over there Sunday dinner. My mama used to grow butter beans off her front porch. We had a front porch about 40 foot long, and she had vines that go all the way from the ground to the roof, and she'd pick butter beans off her front porch. And they killed 3 or 4 chickens on a Sunday, and have a big butter bean and chicken stew. Always had lots of kinfolks, all cousins and aunts and uncles. Times were good then. And then, I mean, everybody had a job until 1927. And things went bad.
What do you remember about what's your father's name, his whole name?
His full name is Bernard Falcon.
And what do you remember about his family?
He had 14 brothers, no sisters.
You see a lot of them?
Well, yeah. Well.
Were they part of the Sunday?
Yeah, yeah, well, I had about 3 uncles that work on a Texas Pacific Railroad, and they used to always come down with their kids.
You remember any of your cousins and stuff? You played with them? And
yeah. Bunch of cousins I used to play with. Bunch of little niggers. Used to come play in the yard. Well, on the next street where I lived, we lived in a place where there was nobody around us. But about a block and a half away, well, there's a street there with niggers. And they used to all come play in my yard. We'd make nigger shooters and kites and go down the railroad track and shoot blackbirds.
What was the biggest thing you ever got in trouble for? What'd you do?
Biggest trouble? Let's see. Stole some hubcaps off an automobile and radiator caps.
And got caught.
I got caught. Made a little dago. His name was Tawny Falsetta.
So what'd you
Little red-headed dago.
Did you get tore up for that?
Well, they brought us down to the police station and talked to us, but we didn't steal no radiator cap.
Did Daddy get a hold of it?
No, Dad never whipped me. My mama whipped me, the only one. But I had to be real bad for her to whip me. If I had to go slop the hog, I would have got knocked across. And every time I had to go put slop to the hog, she'd save all the garbage, leftovers, the dishwater, fed it to the hog. Then I had to shuck corn in the evening. And that was corn. We'd pick up corn, and that would last the whole year. Corn and potatoes, we had to go to the store for. We didn't have to buy no lard, didn't have to buy no potatoes, no onions. The only thing we bought was flour.
What'd your daddy do?
He was a mechanic, a truck mechanic. He took care of a fleet of trucks. He maintained all the trucks.
For a company, or?
Yeah, for Bill and Brothers. Big wholesale, retail.
Like a car lot or something.
Yeah. Well, they go to New Orleans, pick up all the commodities, and they distribute it around Donaldsonville, because that was the closest place. And them trucks would go to New Orleans and pick up all the canned goods and clothing and stuff. And the store was a block long, about a block wide and a block long. And the store was a little over 100 years old. I rebuilt a big showcase where they sold automobiles and tractors. I did all that work in Donaldsonville.
How'd you learn about carpentry if your dad was a mechanic?
From building rabbit cages and chicken coops. I learned how to be a carpenter. In the evenings, after I was about 14, 50 years old, I used to work with a carpenter in the evening, putting roof on houses. He had a shop, and he taught me a lot about carpentry. And the rest of it I learned myself.
You was never interested in being a mechanic?
No, it was too greasy. I would get dirty. I wanted clean work. My dad used to come home and wear a pair of pants 2 or 3 times, be soaked with oil and grease. His hands would be cracked from washing them in gasoline. And
tell me about your brothers and sisters. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
got 5 sisters and 1 brother. I'm the second, the youngest, out of 7. I have twin sisters, the youngest. That's Aunt Hazel and Aunt Elsie. You want to know all of them names?
Yeah, tell me all of them names, if you can remember them.
Stella is the oldest one. She's 78 now. Aunt Marion is 76. And your Uncle Pee Wee is 75. And your Aunt Maud is 73. And I'm 71. And Hazel and Elsie is 69. And that's it.
What do you remember about being little with them? You remember they beat you up all the time, or?
Oh, no, I'd have fights on the school ground. I'd come back home, maybe didn't have no shirt left, or, but I never lost a fight. I always won. If I had to bite and scratch, I won. I was in the 7th grade, got my nose broke 2 days ago. One of them held me, and the other one, both couldn't whip me. I mean, one of them at the time couldn't whip me, one of them had to hold me and hit me and broke my nose.
So you remember doing anything with your brothers and sisters, getting into any trouble, or them pointing the finger at you for something you didn't do? Or?
No, we all got along good. I shot my older sister. She slapped me on the side of the head one day. I went and got my BB gun, and I stuck a matchstick in the air, and I put it on her foot, and I drove the matchstick about an inch in her foot. They never messed with me no more. That was the end of that. But she was 10 years older than me, you see. So I'd be able, if I could fight back. I run away from home, well, about 14.
Did you stay gone?
All summer. Worked in picking beans in Little Rock, Arkansas. Anyway, a Transfer Bureau camp. That was President Roosevelt was president, and times was tough. That hobos riding freight trains, and made a little Dago friend. We decided we was gonna leave for the summer. We wanted to go to California, but we never got there.
Went the wrong way.
Yeah, went to Arkansas. And we was riding the blind on the passenger train, and they took us out off the train, and where the hell did they place that? Way up in Mississippi, and they put us in jail. Overnight, they told us to hit the road next morning, and so we stayed there. They had our picture in the paper and radio, our name on the radio, and everything, trying to find us.
So how'd you get back home?
Oh, we tried to come back home. We come back to New Orleans, and went to my uncle's house. Went to my uncle's house in New Orleans, and they knew he was looking for us. So first thing they do, we were sitting on an old church step. There was an old church there. We were sitting on the steps, and I knew they lived on Camp Street, but I didn't know the house number, and I kept inquiring around, and so they hurry up and called Donaldsonville, and told them that found us. Said, hold it, don't let her get away. And my daddy and his friend, they come picked us up. Never got a whipping. They scared us, said, you give me a whipping, I'm gonna run away again.
Threatening them, huh?
Yeah. Who that day? What else you want to know?
So tell me how you met Mama.
Oh, baby, I've been.
Remember? You was in California. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, well, I've been several places in California. I was up in the high Sierra Nevada mountain. I've been on top of Mount Whitney. I've been to big trees. I worked on dynamite crew, building roads in California. And then I went to Bakersfield, learned how to be a welder. Then from there, I went to Oakland, California. I worked in the steel mill, making steel near the Oakland-San Francisco Bay Bridge. Then the war broke out. That was December 7th, 1941. We all got in the cellar in Oakland. They thought the jet was going to come ashore there in Oakland. And so every night there'd be a blackout. And we get in the cellar. And so I went to work in the shipyard and building ships, and I stayed there till 1945. And you want to know how I met your mama?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I used to go dancing every Friday, Saturday night. I used to be a jitterbugger. People used to throw money on the floor, watch me dance.
He was that good, huh?
Mm-hmm. The best. And so me and a bunch of boys were coming. One of them knew some girl in a trailer park, and it was about 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to go home. And they wouldn't come out the dance field, so I blew the horn and got pissed off at them. So they finally persuaded me to go in, and we started jitterbugging in the trailer. And Mom was sitting in the corner, doing nothing. He ain't said a word. And I don't know.
So you picked her up and started swinging with her, huh?
No, I danced with your mama that night. I took her to the movie after that, I believe.
So you had was that your car?
Yeah, a convertible. Used to go out in the mountains, put that cop down, a bunch of us kids.
Remember what it looked like? What color was it?
It was a 1937 Ford.
So Mama wanted you for your car, huh?
I reckon so.
And then what happened? Then you got married eventually.
No, she kept bugging me. She kept bugging me. So I told her to give me a little pussy, I'd marry her. But I wasn't thinking about marrying her. So, finally married her about 3 months later. But she used to come, even she used to come clean my house. She used to bring my money to the bank, put it in the bank.
Where'd you live at? What'd you
Me?
live in? Trailer, apartment?
No, I had an apartment. But she used to come clean my apartment, wash my dirty dishes.
You live with somebody?
Me and a couple of boys. We used to share an apartment, upstairs apartment. Well, I was married before, you know, I was married young. I was 17, she was 14, and it lasted about 9 months. That's when I went back to California again. And stayed there 9 years, almost 10 years.
So, how long did you stay in California after you got married to Mama?
No, I got married at 44. No, Beverly was born in 45. She was 3 months old. And I was supposed to go in the army the day the war ended. I think it was in Los Angeles, somewhere up in there. They announced the war was over. And we stayed in there about 8, 9 hours. Everybody was blowing their horns and drinking whiskey, standing up in their automobiles, and practically everybody had convertibles in California. And the traffic never moved for about 8, 9 hours. And we get on down toward Louisiana in Texas. It was 2 days after we left California. I believe we wound up in Texas. And we stopped at a place there that people didn't know the war was over. 2 days later. And we'll come on to Donaldsonville. I wanted to take about a month vacation. I had plenty of money. And Uncle Orr had a job for me, so I went to work in New Orleans. I worked there about 2 months, and the man sold the business. So then I went to work on the riverfront for Service Machine and Iron Works. I worked there about a month, and then somebody told me about Freeport Silver Company. He was hiring welders, and I come on down, and they didn't have much of a road from New Orleans to Port Silver, New Orleans to Venice. Nothing but holes in the road. It was about 10 miles of paved. And so I went to work for him like that. Mama was living in town in Jefferson, and I used to come home every weekend. For about 1.5 years I did do that, because you couldn't find a place to stay down here. There wasn't no houses, no place to stay at all. And
so then you moved to Empire after a while?
Yeah, then I moved Mama to Empire. I helped build the house that we moved in an Empire. That's when let's see, Gary was born. And then and Linda was born in Port Sulphur, and Bruce was born in Donaldsonville. And Whitney was, well, we lost little AJ. He was about 12 days old. Whitney was 3 days old. She was born in Donaldsonville before I knew she was born. And I built the house. That's where you was born, here. About 7 years later.
So what do you remember most about your life? What's the highlight or the biggest thing in your life? What do you remember? If you can put it all together and think of something that was...
Just traveling around the country. Excitement. Seeing the country.
And if you could take and sum up everything into what anybody wanted to remember you by, or how they wanted to remember you, how would that be?
I haven't the slightest idea.
When Albert Falcon's gone, how do you want everybody to remember you?
I don't know. I was a kind, friendly person. Loved everybody. Never had an enemy. Never had a bad word for anyone. So, like to fish and hunt. Drink and be merry.